a grammar lesson. We're talking about a or hey,
Hey.
which is odd. You just say a. Um,
Eh.
so it's I like this. A is like an arrow that points in the way to a destination or direction. It's a little clunky the way they describe that, but I think of it as like direction. Um, the direction of something that you're talking about. And again, it's a direct object part, sort of like a direct object particle. It's not like wool though, because wool is more this is happening to this. Where
Yeah.
A is like it's not directly causal, but it's related. And
Hmm.
I'll give you some examples to sort of describe that. So often, yeah, it's often used for things like a verb that is going there or doing something upon. So, um, uh, Fujisan no. This is Ryojo. I think that's what it is. It's a summit. I think it's Ryojo. Let me actually use Rikai Champ to look that up. Oh, Chojo. Sorry, Chojo.
Chojo.
Chojo. Right. Yeah, because we got the Cho in there. We got the little yeah. Summit of a mountain. There's a bunch of different ways to say that too. You can say Sangaku, which is the mountain peak. I think Chojo is probably more common though, like the summit if you're just talking about mountains. But anyways, Fujisan
Mm.
no Chojo e noboru. So you're going to climb the top of Mount Fuji. So you can say you can maybe say made. So Fujisan no Chojo made noboru. Like you're going to climb to up until the top of Mount Fuji. But
Oh, I see.
A is also more polite. Um, it is used a lot more like Hanako ga America e iku. That's a more like Hanako ga America e ikimasu. It's a more polite way to say it than ni, because ni is more of like this is in this direction, and this is more of like in in that general direction. It's kind of the feeling of e. So in that general direction,
Oh,
again,
so it's more vague that way, huh?
it's a little bit more vague, but it's obvious what they mean. America
Yeah.
e iku. So, like America ni iku is the same exact thing. It's just a little bit more polite to be less indirect. And
Yeah,
that's
because
a
the knee
running
is more
theme.
direct, right?
They need more direct. Yeah. So, Hanako ga America e kuru. So she's coming to America. Kuru. Um, this is so weird because you never hear this really. You hear ni a lot more in general conversation than you do. Well, I mean, you hear a lot, but it's more for like formal, polite speak, right? So Hanako
Okay.
wa gakko e arita. So she walked to school. Hanako walked to school in like in the general. It's sort of like the direction of school, right? Um, you can say gakko made arita, like she walked up until the school.
Hmm.
You can say gakko ni arita, like she walked to the school. There's just a bunch of different nuances, but the nuance of again of a is it's a little bit more general direction, and then like politer. So yeah, like this one for figurative destination directions. This nishi ni mukattemasu. I think you can still say that, but nishi e mukattemasu is more of like the general direction of west. Like
Yeah.
nishi
I
e mukattemasu, mukatteru is I'm sort of heading in the general direction of west. Yeah,
makes sense.
目標へ向かって頑張る。目標へ頑張る。目標に向かって頑張る。Again, it's all the same, really. It's just all the same. One is just more politer, which is the え。奈良時代から、平安時代へ。This is again, yeah, this is more of like a something that people would say. Um, maybe if there's like the new, the I forgot the name of the calendar, like the actual Heisei. Heisei is the name of the Japanese calendar, and it's all based on emperors, right? And
Hmm.
so, but like I think Nara Jidai is sort of the way of saying from the Nara period to the Heian period. So I think the Heisei is actually what we were at. I think we're a new one now because the emperor stepped down. I have to ask Judy because it's very different the way that we do it in the West because ours is based on the Gregorian calendar, which is a little odd, but at least it just counts up. Where this one's like it literally your calendar year changes every single time an emperor steps down or passes.
Oh, I see.
That's how it works. Yeah. So, anyways, 娘へ荷物を送った。So in the general direction of the daughter, sent the package. 荷物. Again, just more formal. And then this is another good point that's a little bit different than the formal stuff. I guess it is still formal, but Keiko Hanako e is like to Hanako. So when you're writing a letter, you'd say that.
Mm-hmm.
You write that. So like kariru e something 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 something, and then you say your name Yori. Yori is like from basically. Yeah. So 母から娘へ受け I forgot this word. To succeed. Oh, it's like inheritance. 継がれた necklace. 継がれた is inheritance. Yeah. I didn't remember the reading for that. 継がれた母から娘へ受け継がれた necklace. So the necklace that was received from the inheritance, from her mother's inheritance. 母から. So that's again like a little bit more formal to say that. Yeah, this is also okay. This is common speak. どうぞこちらへ. Like a lot of people say that, you know, when you're going to a restaurant or whatever, or you are like in a train station or whatever, and then somebody's being polite, they'll say like どうぞこちらへ, like this way, in this direction. こちらへ. You don't say こちらに really. They might even just say こちら, like this way. They might not say, but こちらへ is more polite, kind of businessman or woman's speak. 日本に行く, 日本へ行く, exactly the same thing. Yeah, and they're talking about the difference. Like, yeah, this is trying to explain too. A is sort of like a poetic feeling. It's more of just like it makes it the more polite option. That's how Judy would describe it, I think, is that A is more polite. It's like more the general direction. コンビニに向かって歩いた。コンビニに歩いていた。A is sort of like the general direction. You can use ni at the same time. I'm trying to think of like other examples in this. This is kind of weird. E no. Where was that at? I missed it. Oh, you remember when I was saying made? So 東京から大阪までの距離は、okay, we're good. 距離は約500キロミターです. So, made no is a really, really common conjugation. And so they're saying, what are they saying over here? Like e no made. So you can sort of often interchange made and e. But it has the different nuance that I was trying to describe. That made is like up until. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking about like one place to another place, you'd say made, and that works fine. But you're saying like up into Osaka. If you're saying e, it's sort of like in the general direction of Osaka.
Yeah.
And it basically is the same thing on its own, but if you're having a conversation, you're saying like Osaka e, like I'm going to Osaka, but then you also follow up the conversation with, but I'm also going to blah, 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 blah. Or if, then we might use e or ni, but if you're talking about maybe like one train line, then you might use made, like that train line goes to Osaka, like Tokyo kara Osaka made.
Okay. That would imply it stops there, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna ride this. Yeah, exactly. Like it up until is like made. There was I'm trying to find the one. Oh, emo. That's really weird. Nemo is more common. Emo is
Nemo.
I forgot how to read this. Ainodake. Ainodake is a place. Ainodake. Oh, let's see right here. あのだけも登るんですか? Okay, that kind of makes sense. It's more of like a polite way to say nimo. No, blah 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 blah. Hopefully that there's some more obviously uh, extreme examples, you know, kind of odd, irregular stuff that you'll see at the end of these articles. It's always the case for these Tofugu grammar articles. But hopefully that you understand what I'm trying to describe is that A is more polite. It's just like more indirect. It's more of just the general direction. And then ni is more like this, like going here. How do you describe like the goal, I guess? I don't know how you describe it, Khalil. Ni at least. How would you describe ni? I know there's some you know, beginner textbooks and like classes and stuff that describe it better than I am.
I've always kind of I'm probably not the person to ask. I would have used it simply like that, like to like
yeah, like it's like the goal marker kind of, whether it's a place that you're going or whether it's a place that you're like giving to, like somebody that you're giving to, somebody that you're asking. But you can also use wool for certain different scenarios.
That's true. It seems like a lot of them can be used interchangeably to an extent.
You know? You wouldn't say for example, Tokyo wo iku. You would never say that.
Yeah.
You'd always say ni or e.
Or e, right?
Yeah. And then so, e is more like
can you formal. Use that? Can you use e in a kind of like, so if I'm thinking of ni as more of a like you said, like a goal, right? Like Tokyo.
It's the goal marker and it's more concrete. Yeah.
Right. So like I'm gonna go to Tokyo basically, but if I say like Tokyo e,
it still means you're going to Tokyo. It just means it's more of like a poetic way to say it. It's more of like general direction.
Like I'm going towards Tokyo, or can you imply? Yeah. Does that also imply that what if you like make a stop between there? Does that include that?
Well, it's more of like a poetic way to say it. It's like Nihon e, like I'm going to Japan, and it's a more polite way to say it, but it's also like and
it's less direct,
I'm heading off toward Tokyo. I'm heading off toward Tokyo, or like it's sort of like a not bon voyage, kind of feeling, but something like that, where it's like I'm heading to Tokyo. I'm heading to maybe like I'm heading to Tokyo. So if that's what you sort of want to emphasize, like you're like I'm going to Tokyo, like Tokyo e iku, Tokyo e ikimasu, like I'm leaving or whatever. It's more of a polite way to say that. So you could stop, but it's not wrong, is what I'm trying to say. Like even if you stop in the middle or whatever, all you're saying is that I'm going to Tokyo, so it's fine. Yeah, and often like again, regular conversation, you're just going to use ni, and that's totally fine. But I think it's better to listen for when people use e, and you'll realize that it's really just for formal speak and really just for like business people. And then you'll hear a couple phrases that are used a lot, like with e. Like kochira e is really, really common. Nippon e iku, or Nippon e, or whatever. Nihon e. Beikoku e, like that's, you know, going to America. You know, there's only like certain times that you hear it a lot, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's pretty interchangeable with ni. So